Good morning, children. Welcome to class. See, in the last class, we just finished with what is a tax. We on the topics like what is tax revenue, what is a tax, the definition of tax. We saw characteristics of tax. We saw and we saw what are non-tax revenues. Under the non-tax revenues, we saw till estates. Now, let us discuss about what are the canons of taxation. Before going into the canons of taxation, we need to understand what is the meaning of canons. See, a proper tax structure or a proper tax system should be based on certain good qualities, okay, or characteristics. So, a good tax system should have properly defined clear qualities prescribed to be levied for the to be for the tax to be levied. So you otherwise call the canons of taxations as maxims of taxation or principles of taxation. See, the principles of taxation, it probably varies with different types of taxes. For direct tax, this particular maxim might hold good. For indirect tax, there can be some other principle which might hold good. So, according to Adam Smith, the four canons of taxation are actually there are only four canons of taxation, and efficient and flexible is not considered to be what is it canon of taxation. First is economical, equitable, convenient, and certain. So the canon of ability should be there, which means the government should impose the tax on the individuals or on the firm in such a way that they have the ability to pay the tax that is being levied on them. Okay, who will have eligibility to pay the tax levied on them? Probably a rich person might have ability to repay because he has got money. So the tax should be levied in such a way that the rich should be taxed more compared to the middle class, and the poor should be taxed less when compared to the middle class or the rich class. So this canon, you call it as canon of ability. Next is canon of certainty. Canon of certainty means the government must ensure that there is no doubt or uncertainty in the minds of the people to pay the tax and when to pay the tax. What is the tax amount that has to be collected, that has to be paid by the people? So there should not be any arbitration regarding the payment of taxes or regarding the collection of the taxes. Arbitration means randomly you cannot choose that this might be my tax. For my house tax might be this much amount only. I cannot just randomly or arbitrarily choose an amount. So there should be certainty. Certainty means you should be sure of what is the time that you have to pay the tax, what is the rate of the percentage of tax that is to be paid by you, okay, and this tax is applicable for this particular duration of time. So all these should be certain, should be made sure to the people. This you call it as canon of certainty. Next is canon of convenience. See, the method of collection of the tax and the time of the tax payment, it should be suitable for the people to pay the tax. See, for example, if you ask the taxpayers to pay the tax at the month end, definitely they'll not be having enough money to pay the tax during the month end, because month end all of them would have spent the money that they have earned. So ideal time for a person to pay the tax should be very clearly specified, and the tax should be levied in such a way that people have money to pay their taxes during the time that it is being levied, and they have to pay the taxes without any difficulty also. So convenient arrangement should be made for the taxpayers to pay the tax, and the convenient time also should be given for the taxpayers to pay the tax. See, previously and all, to pay the electricity tax or to pay the income tax, no, the taxpayers or the income tax assessees, they have to go directly to the income tax office and stand in long queue to pay the taxes. And because of this, they are losing their one day productivity, where they could utilize that time for increasing their productivity, or to for the time that has to be given for their business is totally taken away there. Now, when you see electricity, the charges can be paid sitting at the home itself. Income tax can be paid through online itself. So, it is made convenient for the people to pay the taxes at their convenience and at the convenient time. This canon, you call it as canon of convenience. Next is canon of economy. See, the government is spending huge amount of money for the collection of taxes. It is appointing more number of personnel to look after, and it has to adopt a proper system. So the finance minister has to, the work of the finance minister and the people concerned are so much, and the cost of collecting, proper people have to be appointed, and the money has to be properly routed, it has to be audited. So the collection of taxes also involves huge amount of money. But at the same time, the government has to see that the cost of collection should be kept at the minimum. Suppose if the collection cost is more and the tax amount is less, you call it as bad taxes. Okay, it doesn't work out for a country where the canon of economy is totally nullified. So according to Smith, government should impose only taxes whose collection cost is very cheap. Okay, see, the cost of collecting the tax should be cheap. It should not be equal to the tax amount that is being collected. Then there is no it is not justifiable. Whatever money is being collected, when it is going to be spent for collection of taxes, what is the money that will be left with the government? They cannot do any productive purposes. They cannot do any productive activities rather. So these are the 4 types of canons of taxation. It is quite an important 3-mark answer. Okay, all the 4 points should be written. Next is we learn about direct and indirect taxes. A very simple topic, children, and easy to learn also. Direct tax, the name itself, you are able to understand. This is a tax which is directly levied on an individual's income, wealth. Okay, it can be individual or it can be firm also. He directly pays the tax to the government. Okay, he cannot shift the burden of paying the tax to someone else. So direct tax is what? It is levied on a person's income or wealth, where the person or the firm is required to pay the tax directly to the government. You cannot shift, you cannot ask some other person to pay the tax. One more thing is, as your income is increasing, your repaying capacity is increasing, the tax collected also will be more only. So the rich will be paying more direct tax, the poor will be paying less direct tax. Next is the plans and policies of the direct tax. It is recommended by CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes. It comes under the Ministry of the Government of India. That board is only responsible for laying out all the plans and policies regarding the direct taxation. When you look into the indirect taxes, which comes in the next page, I should just use that also. Indirect tax is a tax which is not being directly paid by the individual, but it is paid along with the price of the goods that we buy. When we buy goods and services, okay, we pay the tax along with the price of the product. Such a type of tax, you call it as indirect tax. Indirect tax is collectively by the business people who initiate the sale. They in fact pay the tax to the government. So ultimately the burden of tax payment, okay, lies on the purchaser. I see in the case of direct tax, okay, the burden of tax payment lies on the individual who pays the tax. But whereas under indirect taxes, the burden of payment of tax lies on whom? Lies on the consumer, the direct purchaser, who is the ultimate user of the product. Next is responsibility to pay the tax. It is vested on the individual who earns the income. Whereas here, the responsibility to pay the tax lies on the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper only who collects the taxes along with the price of the product, he is responsible to pay the tax to the government. See here, example is given. When you earn income, you are responsible for paying tax. And you also have the burden. So you have the burden of paying the tax. But whereas in the case of indirect tax, when you buy any commodity, the shopkeeper is responsible for tax payment, but he can collect it from you. He will be collecting the tax from you along with the price of the product. See, for example, this textbook. This textbook might cost approximately how much rupees? 170 rupees. The price of this textbook is 170 rupees. This includes the GST. So the shopkeeper from whom we have bought this book will be paying the tax which is being collected from us along with the price of the product. Next is there are certain merits and demerits which are associated with direct tax. When we talk of direct tax, first is equity. The direct tax is based on it is a progressive way of tax. That is, when your income is increasing, okay, automatically your tax payment increases. So it is based on what canon? It is based on the canon of equity. That is, rich should pay more tax, poor should pay less tax. Next is certainty. You are very much sure, okay, when you have to pay the tax and what is the rate of taxation. See, if my income is in this is this much a year, I fall under this particular slab category. So I will be knowing what is the percentage of tax that I have to pay to the government. This you call it as canon of certainty. That is also that also holds good here. Next is elasticity. Elasticity means when one aspect is increasing, will it bring a change in some other variable? That is only called as elasticity. When your income is increasing, will it bring a change in the tax that you pay? Definitely yes. So this, what is it? There is elasticity. Direct tax is said to satisfy the canon of elasticity also, because more is the income, more the government will be getting revenue from the people. Next is economy. See, the cost of collecting the direct tax is relatively low when compared to the collection of the indirect tax, because the taxpayers, they directly pay to the state. There is no intermediary between the taxpayer and the government. Next is demerits. Whenever there are some merits, there will be demerits for any topic. When we talk of demerits, this direct tax is not popular, and it is inconvenient and less flexible. You cannot immediately change the revenue of the government. All of a sudden, you cannot change the tax structure or the tax slab. Next is productivity is affected. Main thing is, if you earn more, the government wants you to pay more money as taxes. As a result, what will happen? People will not be motivated to earn more. They will not be willing to earn more, because if you are going to earn more, the government is going to take away more money from you by way of taxes. So the people will not be willing to earn more. As a result, productivity is affected. Next is inconvenient. See, the taxpayer, he finds it, he has to maintain accounts, and he has to submit the returns, his income tax returns, and he has to pay a lump sum amount of money on one particular, during the month of March, February, March, he has to pay a lump sum amount of money by way of GST if he is a businessman. So he finds it very difficult also. This is one of the inconvenience which is faced by direct tax. Tax evasion. See, just because many of the taxpayers have to pay a huge amount of money when they earn more, there is more possibility of the people to evade the taxes, that is, to escape from tax. So they wanted to earn money, but they do not want to pay the taxes. This you call it as tax evasion. So what will happen? This will lead to unnecessary generation of black money in the economy. That is unaccounted money. Black money is otherwise called as unaccounted money. It is not kalla note. It is not forged currency. Any money which is not being brought into books of accounts is called as unaccounted money. Such money only you call it as black money. So because of this indirect taxation, the people are not willing to pay huge tax even when they earn huge amount of money. As a result, they tend to generate or produce or create black money, which is one of the harmful aspects found in an economy. Next is indirect taxation. Indirect taxation, it is a tax which is charged on a person who purchases the goods and services. When you buy a good or when you buy a service, you are paying tax along with the price of the product, and you pay to the government not directly but indirectly. Through whom are you paying? Through the shopkeeper you are paying the tax. So ultimately, who is paying the tax? Only the consumer is paying the tax, but he is not directly paying. He is paying through the shopkeeper or the mediator. So what will happen is, the producer, he shifts the tax burden to the wholesaler, or the wholesaler to the retailer, and finally it is vesting on whom? On the consumer, who finally buys the product. So the indirect tax is a tax which is paid by the consumer to the government indirectly. There are several types of indirect tax. One is excise duty. See, excise duty is a tax which is being paid by the manufacturer when he manufactures the goods in a country. This tax burden, he just shifts it to home, to the wholesaler or the retailer. He doesn't bear the taxes on him, on himself. Next is sales tax. Sales tax is a tax which is paid by the shopkeeper or the retailer. When he is shifting the tax burden to the consumer, he is charging the tax amount on the price of the product. So he is getting the tax from us and he is paying the tax to the government, which is called a sales tax. Next is custom duty. When you bring import goods into a country from outside, you have to pay a custom duty and then only bring a product into the country. So, who pays this custom duty is also included in the price of the product, and ultimately the consumer only pays the tax indirectly along with the price of the product. Next is entertainment tax. The liability is on cinema theatres. Who transfers the burden? Where does the cinema theatre owners transfer the burden? On the tickets of the cinema theatre. So whoever goes to the cinema theatres, the entertainment tax is being charged on the people who go for entertainment. Next is service tax. Service taxes are the tax that we pay for the services that we enjoy, like medical, telephone bills, insurance premium bills, our food bills, our electricity bills, water bills. All those are called as not sales tax, they are called as service tax because it is a service. For the service, you are paying taxes. That is all. These are the types of indirect taxes. Next is what are the merits of indirect tax? When you look into the merits of indirect tax, there is wide coverage. This is quite an important answer, children, because it is a 3-mark question, 3 marks. It is a 5-mark question. What are the merits of indirect taxes? See, more number of people are able to be covered under the purview of indirect tax because indirect tax is being paid by the customers, by the people who use a commodity. So ultimately, whatever product or whatever service we buy, we pay tax and then only buy the commodity. So as a result, they say that when we talk of direct tax, like example income tax, the percentage of taxpayers are just 2% of the total population. Just imagine when 100 people are there, only 2 people pay the tax. Okay, but when 100 people are there, all the 100 people pay indirect tax. Which means to survive, we need to buy goods and services and we need to eat, is it? We need to survive. So invariably we buy any commodity except free goods. For everything we pay tax. So there is wide coverage of tax with respect to in case of indirect taxes. Next is equitable. Indirect tax satisfies the canon of equity. That is, when the necessary commodities are being purchased, the tax on the necessaries are less when compared to the tax that is levied on luxuries. Okay. See, for example, for luxury cars, the tax is more. Whereas for cycles, okay, for the tax is very less. Which means that who are the people who are able to buy luxuries? Only the rich people. So the rich people are only charged more and the poor people are charged less. So it is based on the canon of equity. Next is economical. See, the cost of collection of the tax does not lie on the government. It is being taken care by the trader or the seller who acts as a tax collector on behalf of the government. Next is checks harmful consumption. See, there are certain commodities which are harmful for health, like tobacco, liquors, okay, and any other narcotics. Such commodities are levied higher taxes because when high tax is being imposed on such commodities, the price goes up. When price goes up, many of the people do not consume it. So it is one of the measures taken by the government to check the harmful effects of such consumptions. Next is convenient. See, we do not even know if we are paying the taxes. See, on the other hand, if income tax is paid, if I am earning a good amount of income, year after year, at that particular month, I have to pay huge amount of income tax. Okay, so my monthly salary will have a deduction on any particular month where I will be finding it difficult to manage. But here, we pay the tax along with the price of the product. So, we never even know the pinch of paying the taxes. So, these are the 5 advantages or merits of indirect taxes. Next, let us look into the demerits of indirect tax. When you look into the demerits of indirect tax, High cost of collection. See, they say that the cost of collecting the indirect tax is very high because huge amount of money is to be spent on indirect tax by the government, they say. Next is, it is inelastic in nature. If your income is increasing, will the government increase the tax on cars? No. If your income is increasing, will the government increase the tax on the transports? Definitely no. Or any commodity that you are buying? Definitely no. So it is said to be inelastic in nature. So it is not related to your income. Okay, it is just proportional to your consumption. Next is regressive. Indirect tax are sometimes unjust and regressive in nature because both rich people and poor people consume the same commodity and they are paying the same taxes. Okay, same amount as tax. That is, even the rich is paying the same amount as tax and the poor is also paying the same amount as tax. See, for example, to utilize the service of a telephone network, both of them are paying, the rich or poor, both of them are paying the same amount of tax to the government. As a result, what happens? Both of them, it is a type of regressive taxation. That is, rich pay less and poor pay more. It is like that. Uncertainty. See, indirect tax, sometimes what happens is, it rises when the indirect taxes increase, increases the price of the product. When price of the product is increased, automatically the demand for the goods falls down. Okay, as a result of that, what will happen? People do not consume much good. When consumption is not there, where comes the collection of indirect taxes comes? Automatically, this affects, the government is uncertain sometimes to know what will be the exact amount of revenue that we will be getting from this GST or from the sales tax, because when taxes increase, price goes up. When price goes up, demand falls down. That is, people buy less amount of goods and services. When people buy less amount of goods and services, automatically the amount of money that is being paid by the people also falls down. Next is no civic consciousness. See, as taxpayer, I should know what amount of money I am paying for the paying towards tax. Okay, that consciousness or awareness is not there. So we are not aware what is the amount that we are paying for taxation. A clear example I would like to tell you here: price of petrol. When we talk of the price of petrol, approximately we pay 80 to 82 rupees. Is it 81 rupees or 82 rupees? Sometimes it falls to 79 rupees. Out of the 79 rupees, the price of petrol is only just 45 rupees or something. Okay, apart from that, the remaining amount is central GST and more amount, almost 35 rupees of 1 liter petrol. Out of our 80 rupees, 35 rupees, approximately 35 rupees goes to state GST. Okay, then what is the price of petrol then? It is just 40 rupees or 45 rupees only. It is the tax that we are paying, okay, has increased the price of the product, because the government knows very well that it is inelastic in nature, because even if the price of petrol increases, people will never stop going. Are we stopping just because price of petrol has increased? Have we stopped to go? Have we stopped to going to office? No. Have we stopped going to shopping? No. Have we stopped going to schools or any other activities outdoors? Definitely no. Okay, so they know very well that it is inelastic in nature. In last class we were discussing why is elasticity important to learn, last year probably. So this elasticity helps the government to fix a high rate of taxes. Okay, so we do not even know what is the percentage of tax, what amount of our money is going to government as taxes. In the next next time when you go and fill the petrol, just claim for the bill. Okay, that is printed bill. You will be knowing how much is the CGST and how much is the SGST. Now this paragraph, it is a comparison chart which tells us about the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. This is also very, very important. 3-mark answer. Sometimes it could be asked in 5 marks also. I want you to learn 5 side headings. Okay, basis of comparison, direct tax, indirect tax. It could be asked in 3 marks as well as in 5 marks. First thing is, it gives a definition. That is, direct tax is levied on personal income and on wealth directly paid to the government. Here it is indirectly paid to the government through a third person. Next is nature. It is progressive, which means when your income is increasing, direct tax increases. Whereas indirect tax, it is regressive in nature. And next is incidence and impact. Incident means on whom it is going and striking. Okay, the tax is vesting on at first instance it is being levied on the manufacturer, but where is the impact? The impact is on the consumer. So the incidence and impact, okay, is same in case of income tax, in case of direct tax, but whereas in indirect tax the incidence and impact are on different persons. Next is tax base. Income or wealth of an assessee, that serves to be the base of the taxation. Okay, how is the person being levied an income tax? Only based on his income and only based on his wealth he is being levied a tax. But whereas here when you purchase or manufacture any good, okay, that serves to be the tax base. Evasion. In case of direct taxation, you cannot evade, you cannot escape. Under indirect taxation, you can escape. Okay, the manufacturer shifts the burden to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler will shift the burden to the retailer, and the retailer will shift the burden to whom? The consumer. Next is inflation. Direct tax helps in controlling inflation, whereas indirect tax pushes the price up. Okay, it helps in inflation, that is, it will lead to increase in prices, whereas during inflation, when taxes increase, automatically the amount of disposable money in the hands of the people will fall down. As a result, what will happen? People will demand less goods and services. Next is imposition and collection. The imposition and collection is from the assessee only, whoever is the assessee on whom the assessment is made, whereas here the imposition and the collection is from consumer. Okay, but it is being paid and deposited by the assessee only. Burden. You cannot shift the burden of paying the direct tax, but whereas in indirect tax you can shift the burden of indirect tax. Next is about GST. See, when we talk of GST, goods and service tax, in Tamil you call it as Sungavari. Okay, no, Sungavari, goods, Sarakku Vari. Okay. I know many of you, okay, you will think in different angles. Okay, so GST is a tax which is being levied on the goods and services, and it came into effect. This act was passed in the year 2017, and the act came into effect on 1st July 2017. See, this GST, it is a comprehensive tax, that is all the types of taxes are put into a nutshell. Okay, and it is destination based tax. Next, it is in simple words, it is levied on the goods and services. Okay, this law has replaced many of other types of taxes which we were paying previously. All the other taxes are removed, and now we are paying only one tax. Okay, it is one indirect tax for the whole country. Okay, one tax, one country. Next is under the GST, there are certain components. Okay, components of GST which we need to learn. It is important. First is CGST, Central Goods and Service Tax. This CGST, it is collected by the central government. On what? On the intra-state. That is, when the sales is happening within a state or within a union territory, we pay money to the central government. I told you petrol is it. Just next time, please ask for the bill and find out, okay, what is CGST and what is SGST. Only then all these topics will be very familiar to you. Okay, so when we are buying any goods and service within a state, we are paying some amount of money to the central government. That you call it as CGST. It is collected by the central government. Next is SGST. The same petrol bill, I told you 35 rupees approximately goes to state government. That is only CGST. It is collected by the state government on what? On intra-state. Intra-state means within the state. Okay. Next is IGST. It is collected by the central government only, but when the sale happens between the states, between one state to other state, which you call it as interstate. Understand the difference? Intra means within. Inter means between. When sale takes place between Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, when goods go from Tamil Nadu to Maharashtra, sale is being made in Maharashtra. So, Maharashtra gets CGST. Okay, from the state of Maharashtra, the central government gets CGST. The next is what nature of sales tax, VAT and GST. Sales tax, it is a multi-point tax with cascading effect. Okay, but whereas and VAT is also a multi-point tax without any cascading effect. GST, it is one point tax without any cascading effect. Cascading means it doesn't flow to the other person. Okay, at only one point you are paying the tax. So what happens is the price of the goods will not increase because of GST. Okay, see, in case of sales tax, the producer will levy a sales tax for buying the raw materials. Okay, he would have bought the raw materials by paying the tax. Again, that is vested on the price of the product. Again, the price of the product from 2 rupee, it will increase to 3 rupee. Okay, now on 3 rupee, he will keep a profit, then he will sell it to other person, where the third person, wholesaler, has to pay the tax and get it. So, multi-point tax is there. But whereas in GST, okay, the tax is a fixed component. At no place, not in producer place, wholesaler place, retailer place, it is being paid. At the point of sale only, the GST is being taxed. So, it will not lead to increase in the price of the product. There is no cascading effect. It has removed the cascading effect and it will directly have the impact where? On the cost of the goods and at the selling point only. The next point is, because of more technological advancement, GST is more so technology driven only, because when you see many of the people who are doing the business activities in the recent years, you might have seen many of them might have installed this GST app. Okay, and it is more technology driven. Once the sale is being generated, automatically that portion of money which has to be paid as GST automatically goes and gets accounted into that particular heading. So at the end of the year, you know what is the amount that what is your total sales, what is GST, out of the GST, how much amount goes to CGST and how much amount goes to SGST. So it is more so technology driven. And every seller is given a portal, online portal is given. As a result, there is speeding of process. Okay, so these are the advantages with respect to GST, which is the recent implementation of tax. I think with this I should stop today's class. For today's homework, I want you to, this is quite a big lesson, children. Please do the homework as I give you. Okay, I want you to write part C, canons of taxation. Then canons of taxation, 3 points, difference between direct tax and indirect tax. Next is merits of indirect tax over direct tax. Okay, I want you to write 3 answers: canons of taxation, difference between direct and indirect tax, merits of indirect tax over direct tax. That's all. Have a nice day, children. Bye-bye.